Hey everyone, David Angelo with the David Angelo Show. Presidential debate edition. Special edition in that it's late. I mean, it really is. It's what, 4 days later? See, the lesser commentators, they're out instantly. They're putting the analysis out. Me, I like to take the time, do a real scholarly, deep dive into it. And also, I tried to do it on Tuesday. The setup was not cooperating. I have this video set up. Totally static. Nothing moves. And yet every time I turn it on, it doesn't work. I'm sure that's how, Joe Rogan, when he puts out a podcast, he's just fiddling with USB cords, trying to plug them in and out until the thing's going. I'm sure that's how the greats do it. But, we make do. And we soldier on because it's important. What we do here is important, and I'll show you some stats here now. Here's the revenue from the channel. So the last episode I put out about the convention, it made $12.41, and I think that's good. That's a number. It shows there's room for growth. If you're making $3-4 million an episode, where are you gonna go from there? But at $12.41, I feel like, and I don't want to sound arrogant, but I feel like we could probably even double that number at some point. And that gives me, a lot of excitement about the potential of the channel here. And I appreciate you guys for really helping keep it a secret. Don't don't share until we really get things cooking. I appreciate you guys giving me the ability to kind of just work in a safe space is what you've made this for me. I feel like, I don't want too many people watching. I'd get nervous. So thank you. I appreciate what you guys have done on your side. But yeah, so we got the big show. We're ready to go. Election is heating up. The polls are close. Polls are very close. I mean, the last time I saw polls this close, I was at a sex show in Krakow. Okay. All right. I mean, I'm going to continue with the episode, but even I know it's probably over. So we had a big debate. ABC hosted it. They were terrible, obviously. I don't remember much. It was not memorable. Trump did not do well. But then if you think about it, at the time, at the end of the debate, I was like, Trump did a very bad job here. But I cannot now, 3 or 4 days later, cannot remember one line Kamala had. I cannot remember one single thing she said. And I think that actually hurts. Because people... Okay, I'm going to need someone to tell me how to get the thumbs up thing to stop doing the thumbs up. It's built into the software, and I'm trying to make these very important, serious points about democracy and the future of our country. And one of the most common gestures. Someone said to me once in the comments, they were like, go to the thing. Where? Here's the desktop. Tell me where I'm supposed to go to a thing. This just turns into a 10-minute rant about I don't even know what these things are. Anyway, did Joe Rogan have to do that when he started out? Was there a thumbs up symbol involuntarily? It's almost like it's a CIA psyop against me, is that they've built in this thumbs up thing. I mean, the government has spent more money on less useful programs than putting a psyop on my podcast. So you may say it's paranoid, but just wait till the documents come out in a few years. So we have a big debate. Kamala, Trump. Already very forgettable. The only things I remember are there was a discussion about people eating cats and giving transgender surgery to illegal aliens in prison. I think those were the two big things. If we had to take away, I think in a month's time, we're going to look back. Like when we look back at the Biden debate, we remember his face where he had his mouth open, and we remember him saying, I beat Medicare. And we don't really remember much else. with this debate, we might remember they're eating pets, and I already forgot the other thing. Oh, they're giving transgender surgeries to migrants in prison. That was a big fact. Which, when that dropped, when Trump mentioned that in the debate, that they're giving transgender, whatever you call it, surgeries. Here, let me see if I have a thing here for you guys. The reaction online to this was instantaneous, and it was brutal. So Jamal Bowman, elected official in New York, she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens in prison. That was the quote. Y'all serious right now? He says anything. He just put words together that scares people and barely forms sentences. That was one of the reactions. Susan Glazer, who writes for The New Yorker, this is, a very high-level smug person. Trump made history last night for sure. Who will forget about him ranting on stage about immigrants eating people's dogs, or insisting that the vice president wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in jail? My piece on Trump's too crazy moment here at The New Yorker. And then at The New Yorker, they say basically the same thing. It was memorable. What the hell was he talking about? No one knows, which was, of course, exactly Harris's point. This guy's crazy, this Trump man. And then all these other people, the bunch of randos, everyone was making fun of it, getting a lot of likes on the old social media. Mark Lamont Hill lamented. She wants to do is the wildest thing I have ever heard in any debate ever. Now, of course, you think it is crazy, right, that she wants to do. I mean, all of her supporters agree. That's the craziest thing ever. Oh, but wait, guys. It turns out Kamala Harris supports providing gender transition surgery to detained migrants. So here's the takeaway from this, guys. This is why I think this is actually, at first I was like, this debate is terrible for Trump because he's not doing a good job at saying anything. But now one of the big takeaways is transgender surgery for migrants in prison and cats. The first one is all of the liberals, all the Democrats saying how absurd, how ridiculous, how crazy is Donald Trump. And now having to absorb the reality that the person that they're supporting, without any understanding clearly of what she supports, actually believes that. I mean, this is where liberals are right now, is their actual policies are so crazy, they cannot even believe them. And yet somehow, I understand the criticisms of Republicans. We'll get to them. I mean, I will say a lot of things about Trump. But when you have your president running for office, and when Donald Trump points out one of her policy positions, and it sounds crazy to you, and Trump thinks it's crazy, well, then where are we exactly? Okay? Now, again, at this point, I don't care if they want to do transgender surgeries for detained migrants in prison. We're so far past anything mattering here at this point. I mean, this is why usually when I was a kid, I remember them doing debates and they'd be like, we have to do this and the tax needs to be on this thing and we'll have incentivize. And now it's just pure rambling. Nothing. We are totally in decline. This is a go to the lifeboats moment. It's like a Titanic. We have already hit the iceberg, but there's still time to get to the lifeboat. What are we going to do? That's the question. And the debate played on, right? So there was that. They kept fact-checking Trump, the moderators, which they were only fact-checking Trump. They never fact-checked Kamala Harris, even though she did lie. She did the Very Fine People lie, which if you're a fan of the David Angelo show, if you're one of the few people who have the... sometimes I'm like, did I make this show? Did I make the link private? Do people need the link to watch the show? No, it's public. It's on the internet. But if you're one of the few people who are watching, you probably saw the episode where I did the very fine people thing. And that's one no fact checker ever touches. They never touch that one. And it comes up in every debate Trump has had. Every single debate with Biden, Biden brought it up. It never gets fact checked. Kamala brings it up again. It doesn't get fact checked. And they know they can't fact check it because it's embarrassing to them. And the reason it's embarrassing, obviously, is because it shows that they're lying and that they're dishonest, that the very fine people thing is fake. And so I think it's important that Trump really drill down on that. He never does, because he's doing a very bad job debating. When he debates Joe Biden, who's brain dead, we're like, ooh, this guy's got the moves. And then when you put a person who's basically, I mean, Kamala's an adult. She's not, I mean, think about it. When is the last time think of literally one thing she's ever said. Like one thing ever. One thing she's ever done or said where you're like, yeah, no, that's a good point. It doesn't happen, okay? But she's not brain dead. So then Trump comes in and he's thinking, I'm going to be just knocking him out of the park like I did with old Joe. But she can actually complete sentences. And so that put him at a disadvantage, Donald Trump. But he does need to address the very fine people thing, because it's one of those, it's like unlocking to the brains of a lot of average citizens. It makes them realize, oh my God, we've been lied to by the media and the Democratic Party in a very severe way for many years. And then maybe it starts to erode the other things in their head where they're like, what else am I being lied to about? Maybe. I mean, you need an IQ, you just need an IQ of 101. 100 and below, it's kind of like, all right, what can you do? 101, if you have that 101, then maybe you can start to see, I'm gonna notice an action that was taken. For example, the media lying to me, and then I'm going to say, perhaps they have been lying to me about other things. And that takes intelligence. You can't. What can you do? But they never fact check. They fact check in the most bizarre way. Let me see that. Just on the transgender thing, they don't fact check the very fine people. But the New York Times, now that she wants to do transgender on operations in prison, Donald Trump, and then the fact check on it is, this needs context, which is liberal media, Democrat media, whatever. The Democrats, they just control. It's like every newspaper and every station on television, with the exception of Fox News, is totally controlled, or whatever, in the bag for Democrats. And then Fox News is kind of in the bag for Republicans. And then people say, Fox News. But it's like literally everything else in media is for the Democrats. And the New York Times is a perfect example. This needs context. That is code word for it is true, and we don't like that. You'll see it constantly. This needs context. That's just simply, it is true, and we are upset about it. So, yeah, those are the things. Then we had the cat people. My God. Okay, so Trump, I don't know what happened. This was like one of these things. I am sure, if I could trace this back, and I don't want to put the effort in, but this is one of those things where I feel like it came out of, this would be like a Russian account somewhere on Facebook, post some story about I saw someone eat a cat. A Haitian ate my cat. And then this gets picked up by all of these grifter right-wing people. And then, it spreads like wildfire, because it's the kind of thing, that does. Anything related to a cat, right? Initially on YouTube, a cat playing the keyboard, viral, right? J.D. Vance says they're cat ladies, viral. Now we have Haitians eating a cat. This is viral. Anything regarding a cat goes viral. So this thing went viral. They didn't really do the fact check. They pulled a video, but it was just some woman on drugs who had eaten a cat. I mean, to be fair, but I think it was from a few years ago. I don't really know what was going on. So obviously sensational, and of course I'm thinking, I hope Donald Trump doesn't bring that up, because it isn't verified. But then he's hanging out with Laura Loomer, all these whack jobs, and he brings it up in the debate. Okay, so he brings it up in the debate, to make a point about the dangers of illegal immigration. This is where, and guys, there are so many examples of illegal immigrants killing people. So if you want to make the case, right? Oh, there's a danger here. We need to secure the border because there are people coming in who are dangerous. You don't need to talk about a cat. I don't know why it is. For some reason, nobody cares if a, I'm going to have to find a thing, and it's just going to drive me nuts because I have to do it in real time. And my computer's just a nightmare. Here we go. I do archive everything. So, this is from years ago. I saw this on Fox News. This is like 2017 or something. Give me the thing back. Come back to me.
Yeah, more than 1,000 miles to get to the U.S., but these 5,000 plus strong migrants are coming to the U.S. one way or another, and they are not deterred by either Mexico's.
So, they're down. This is during the Trump years. And then he's saying he talked to somebody. He talked to one of these migrants. Now, this is a guy who is willing to do an interview on television. Bear in mind what we're dealing with. There's a man, a camera came over, an interviewer came over, and this man gave this interview.
In my country, Honduras, got a lot of trouble.
Can you ask him exactly what happened?
¿Cuál es tu felonía exactamente?
Number three.
A third degree felony?
Intento de matar.
Attempt of murder.
And we see here, as people are waking up, a small group meeting, some of them trying to sort of self-police.
The guy's come into America. He says, I'm in trouble in Honduras. I'm charged with attempted murder. And he does an interview. I mean, to his credit, I actually appreciate if you're going to be bold, you might as well be bold, right? Does an interview. This is the kind of thing, I remember when this aired, I was like, how is that not like the story? There is no, the topic of immigration, we're going to table that right now, okay? That's not what we're talking about. But there is an issue of these gangs, look at the Aurora, Colorado, MS-13, whatever the Venezuelan equivalent of that is, where it's just people pouring in the country. No one knows who they are. And then people get killed. And then you have, the guy who did an interview. When people get killed, I don't know how that isn't the talking point. Somehow Trump is like, aha, but they're also people killing cats. Like that's, 4 aces up his sleeve. This is what I'm talking about, where it's just, it's stupid on so many levels. It's stupid it's an unverified story that they're going to turn around and be like, you're just a racist. But it's also stupid on like, why are you even making that point? You have a point you could make if you wanted to make a point about the dangers of unvetted mass migration, right? It's bizarre. So anyway, that was one of those instances. Then there was another where they did this thing where Trump mentioned he gave a story about a guy named Abdul, the Taliban leader Abdul. And if you look at, do I have these? The media, they were like, this is a thing that came from this guy, someone on Twitter. I'll have to find the name. But the guy, Trump said, I met with Abdul. And then the media, they go and they're like, who is Trump talking about? Who's Abdul? Like, what is he saying? Like, Trump's word salad debate on some guy like Donald Trump's, quote, Abdul remarks or flurry of memes. The Hill, who is Abdul? Like, what? Forbes, who is Abdul? You know, Al Jazeera, eating pets in Abdul. Who's Abdul? You know, Abdul, what is Abdul? And then this guy on the internet found this clip.
The man who now leads the Taliban in Afghanistan, Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar.
Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar, co-founder of the Taliban.
I could hear in Mullah Baradar's voice that he knew President Trump meant business.
CBS News has confirmed that CIA Director William Burns met secretly in Kabul with the Taliban's de facto leader, Abdul Ghani Baradar.
So the media knows. Now, I don't know who this guy is. I'm not even going to pretend I know the leadership structure of the Taliban, okay? I like to bullshit through a lot of topics. I'm not going to even attempt that one. The media knows who Abdul is.
We have learned that CIA Director William Burns traveled to Kabul for a secret meeting with Taliban leader Abdul Ghani Baradar.
A Taliban co-founder, Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar, who oversaw the signing of the U.S. withdrawal agreement last year.
The night. This is the part where Donald Trump invented someone. He invented a person who does.
So this is the current, after the debate, the media now has forgotten who Abdul is. The Taliban guy.
Doesn't exist in addition to the people he says are eating dogs. There's another person who doesn't exist. His name is Abdul.
And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems.
Maybe the reason that VP Harris is looking at him that way is one that she's probably thinking maybe he should go back to the old folks home and have a bowl of Jello. Or she might also thinking to herself, no. The head of the Taliban's name is not Abdul. It is Hibatullah Akhundzada. So maybe he couldn't remember that. You know, I had to write it down to know it. Your thoughts on his response in making up Abdul as a person that isn't real?
No one can really confirm who this Taliban person named Abdul is, who he said he'd talk to.
It's the bizarrest bit in the whole debate, where he describes the leader of the Taliban as a guy called Abdul. It's a completely non-existent person. He's just chosen the one Muslim name he can remember. It's like, I don't know, the leader of the Taliban saying, that guy John who leads the West, or is it Billy? That's the kind of sort of wacky direction she sent his head in because she had prepared so well.
Okay, so that's from some guy on Twitter named Maze who put that together. Which I didn't even know that the media was freaking out about Abdul. But this is a perfect example of like, okay, Trump says something. He's correct, I guess. I mean, I have still not researched this. I'm just basing it on the media at the time and all the coverage at the time. There was some guy leading the Taliban called Abdul. Or with the first name Abdul, whatever. So Trump is saying something, and then they go and they fact check him. They say he's wrong, right? It's the same as the trans operations of migrants in prison. Trump is correct, but the reaction is, aha, he's wrong. And so this is one where, I mean, I'm so disinterested. I don't even care who the leader of the Taliban is, but it seems like they're just pretending, or they don't know, or... You know what? Let's see who the leader of the Taliban is, for God's sake. Wikipedia, Taliban leadership. I'm going straight to the source. Straight to the source here. And I'm going to Command F Abdul. Oh, founders, Abdul Ghani Baradar. So now I'm just going to... This guy's still alive? Still alive. Baradar is considered to be a moderate Taliban member. Oh, well, that's nice. Use a small stone if a woman's been raped. Just use small stones to throw at her. He's a moderate member of the Taliban. He's in office. He's first deputy prime minister. So the guy co-founded the Taliban. He's in office. He's post-release. I mean, just going to Wikipedia. Do the people in the media They can't pretend that this, maybe he's not the leader, I don't know. But they're just like, who's it, Abdul? I mean, literally Wikipedia. It took me 10 seconds here. This is what we're dealing with. This is what we're up against. The cravenness of this media. So, you know, and obviously, let me see what the, I won't do this part. But you watch these things and you think, is this going to move the needle? You don't really know. It's hard to tell. Because swing voters are really just, at this point, alcoholics. They just haven't, they're not sober. They haven't figured out there's an election yet. Because everybody else sort of has this dialed in. But then CNN did a focus group, and I'm sure this is all fake. And I'll do an episode also, by the way, of how fake CNN is in my, I don't know. I would do it in this. It's already running too long. But CNN did a focus group.
I didn't necessarily agree with what she was saying, but my favorable reactions were because it was nice to see the It's
just not working? Is this the idea?
I didn't necessarily the passion and believability that she stands behind, and then have something to gauge more of what she says on, since she hasn't spoken a lot solidly about a lot of issues.
Okay, so basically, this is a swing voter. She's like, I don't really agree with what she says, but I like the passion. This is where I start to lose my mind with voters. Democracy in general is really just a contest to see who can convince the most morons to vote for you. It's not an ideal system. It really isn't. But the thing that people are doing, they're not being self-absorbed enough. They're not thinking, who's the thing, which candidate, which party is going to help me the most? They're just focused on who's this person. It's so one-dimensional. It's like if you wanted to go buy a car, so you're going to look at two cars, right? I want this car or this car. This is how a rational person would buy a car. They'd say, well, there's this car and there's these features. But then there's this car and it has these features. And there's pros and cons here. But I'm looking at the features and the costs of both of these cars. And I'm going to weigh the differences, and then I'm going to make a decision that I think is the most rational about which car I should buy. That's how a rational person would choose a car. The average voter, they're just selecting the salesman of the cars. So it's like, okay, I need to buy a car. There's this car, and this salesman is nice. And then there's this car, and it's not a great car. It has, there's a loaded gun pointed at me from the steering wheel. It's totally rusted out. But this salesman, he's nice too. This salesman actually is not very nice. But then this salesman, he remembered my name, and that's important to me. I don't really know what the car, I don't know, what kind of fuel it takes. I don't know. But this guy was nice to me. He remembered my name. This other guy, I didn't like that. He wore this tie this is how the average voter votes. It's absurd. It's an absurdity, but it's democracy, and that's the system. Don't we love it, folks? Don't we love it, folks? I'm merging into Donald Trump. You can't help but just have rigid arms gestures when you get animated these days. And in the post-2020 world, folks, I don't know. I don't even know what he does. It's the accordion. Listen. Did he invent that? Did someone else do that? I don't know, guys. I don't know. All right. All right. You know what? I'm just going to wrap it up. We did a great show. It's coming in around 30 minutes, which all of them are they're all about 30 minutes, which I like. It's like a round, solid number for you guys to watch. You can pass it around. 30 minutes. It's the typical programming, right? In the old days, you'd go watch a sitcom. Now you can watch, You know, a guy just sort of freelance lunatic on YouTube. But hey, like and subscribe for the love of God. All right, bye.